Try that again. All right, let's try this again. I don't know. It just cut off. So, I don't know what happened. But, yeah, it just cut off. It even clicked all the way out of the Facebook. Like if you press to get back to your home page of your phone. I don't know why it clicked off. In the meantime, while we let people get back on, let's go to Proverbs chapter 3 to catch back up on this time. We're running late now. Shorter service today. There will be news. So, I got quite a bit of news to deal with, but so we'll see. So, praise the Almighty. Let's start with the intro. Welcome to True Hebrews United of the Almighty Yeshua. This your beloved holiness instructor, disciple, Joe Sergeant, about to get into the book as usual. Definitely give all honor to the Almighty through His Son Yeshua, Hamashiach, the only begotten of the Father. Without Him, we can't have our health, employment, family, friends, car. He's the one that's keeping our car working. So definitely thank the Almighty for that, making it through this famine. You know. For the majority of this nation, or the world, I would say that, because the economy in the whole world is hurting. So I definitely thank the Almighty for that. Thank the Almighty for last week's service. Got a little food poisoning. Brother Vince stepped up, taught the word, edified the people, edified the congregation. So that was a major blessing. That, you know, when one person's down, the congregation could come up and pick up the slack. So that was a major blessing. Also, that he'll be able to reach and other people that I may not, you know. Everyone, just like one man's not built for every woman, same thing. Some people's teaching and preaching and style appeals to other people that some men can't reach. We see throughout the word, the Apostle Paul, he went from city to city and people weren't receiving the apostle. But then Apollos, who was mighty in the scriptures, he came through and he won these same people. His understanding of the scriptures was so strong that he was able to gain the people that the apostle couldn't. Even though the apostle knew his word, but Apollos, mighty in the scriptures, he was powerful, able to win people that this other apostle was not able to win. And so you see that, you know, one plant, one water, the Almighty gave the increase. So I definitely thank the Almighty for that. And then we'll deal with some of the, not only with the sickness, but some of the, with the news later on. So definitely thank the Most High for that. Double honor to the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the teachers, the elders, the bishops, the deacons across the world, trying to get people to repent from their sin and bring their hearts back to the Heavenly Father. All the brothers and sisters keeping the Almighty's commandments, statutes, judgment, precept, and ways, that delight in His ways, as being the salt of the earth and being the light of the world. And when people meet, whether they're an atheist or whether they believe in Big Bang or whatever, that they could see someone standing on the wall and see a light and see what everyone else says, that they're a believer or they're a Christian, but they're like, he's different. No. Yeah, all these people say they believe, but he's different or she's different. How she carries herself, how she conducts herself is different than the rest of these people that say they're Christian or they believe in the Bible. There's something different about this one. His standards, their convictions, they see that we're alike. And when they have a question about the word, they're going to come. It may take 6 months, it may take a year, it may take 2 weeks, but eventually, so what do you think about this? Or why don't you eat pork? Or well, what's your thoughts on this? And they're curious, because even if they're not going to repent, they're still going to want righteous judgment. They want to know what righteous judgment looks like. Oh, well, we do this. This is how we treat. This is how we do our family. No, we don't send our family to convalescent homes. No, we don't do this. No, this is how we vet for a husband or for a wife. This is how we run. This is how long we take care of our kids. And they get to see righteous laws. Like in the word, it says that they'll go and they say, who has righteous laws such as these people? That the Almighty's laws is righteous, just, and good. And we walk in them. So definitely thank the Almighty for that. All the people on Facebook and YouTube that share, like, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys. I want you guys to make it into the kingdom. Keep pressing. Keep standing. If you don't have a congregation, please try to find you a congregation, wherever that may lead you. So, with all that said, be it done. Let's let the fingers do the walking and the scriptures do the talking. So praise the Almighty. It will be a shorter service today. For real this time. I got a nice service I want to teach on next Sabbath. I was going to teach on it the following, but I got sick. But I want to get caught up on the news. So Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 7. And they quote this scripture all the time. So I'll read it first. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 7. Trust in the Almighty with all thy heart, and lean not on thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. So we're going to deal with that in a little bit. So a lot of, especially Christians, a lot of people, I like Proverbs. Oh, trust the Lord with all thy heart. Trust the Lord with all thy heart. But the problem lies is they don't trust the process. The process will get you off rather than just the mere trust. So you'll see where people go to the doctor and you don't know that doctor. You don't know if he's racist. You don't know if he is malpractice. You don't know if he cheated on an exam. You don't know if he's underqualified and lied or whatever, right, of his credentials. And you'll just trust his prescriptions. You'll trust his procedures. You'll trust his diagnosis because you'll blindly trust. Knowing that not all doctors are the same. Some doctors are more skilled than others. If you find sometimes when you're self-diagnosing or you look up certain things and then you go to the doctor and ask them, sometimes you'll realize that the doctors may be off. You know, or if you called one clinic and talked to a doctor or whatnot and then called another one, sometimes they'll be off. Some things is hard to diagnose. Obviously, if you have a rash, they need to go to a dermatologist and check that out, right? And it could be from ringworms all the way to a bacterial infection, right? But there's some things where they should all be consistent and they're not. But we will blindly trust a doctor when we go there and follow their prescription. Take this 3 times a day, this and this, until the thing's empty or whatever, right? And we'll blindly, to the point to where you'll trust doctors on things that they have no knowledge of. Doctors are not nutritionists. Doctors are not physical therapists. Doctors are not physical trainers. And you'll ask them questions on things that's outside of their realm. Just because they could suggest what foods to eat, this is based upon what someone showed them. But they're not a nutritionist. They didn't go to school to be a nutritionist. They don't go to school to know all the values of the omega-3s and the omega-6s and the B12 complex, vitamin B12 complex and all that, right? They didn't go to school for that. But they'll give a suggestion, and just because they're a doctor, then we just accredit them more trust than what they deserve, right? The same thing with your job. Some people will go to their jobs and they get let down because they trust their jobs. There's unions that collapse. Even last year, oh, we're in the union, we're good, it's security, this and this. Southwest Airlines just laid off 2,000 people. Some people thought they were safe because they had a pension and they lost their pension. You worked 25 years for these companies, and then they come to find out the company went under or this or the union collapsed, and now you lost your pension. Now you have no retirement, and you've been putting your money in this. So all you have is Social Security, which may be like $600 a month or something, right? You have nothing to show for it because you put all your trust in there. Some of that is your own wrongdoing because, like I'm in the union myself, and I could retire at 55. I got a long time, I don't even want to think about it. I got so long before I can even think about retirement. But from the time I joined to now, I have time to apply myself, whether a moving company, whether start a business, whether investments. And if all else fails, then at 55, I could get like, I don't know, $3,000, $4,000 a month for the rest of my life, right? And that's if all else fails, because I've been put in this pension. But I do know that pensions do fail. Unions do collapse. So if I want to put all my trust in that, some people trust the media. Some people trust the news. Some people trust whatever the government says is good for you, and I'll just go ahead and put it in my shoulder because the government said it was good for me, and FDA approved it, so it must be good. Our government said it was okay. Mr. Fauci said it was okay. Bill Gates says it's okay, so it must be okay. People do that. But whenever it comes to trusting the Most High, that's when people get wishy-washy. Some people, we're talking about this is different about finding congregations versus jobs and whatnot. But some people put more trust in doctors than they do the word of the Most High. Because if push comes to shove and the doctor says, oh, we want to try out this experimental drug, or we want to try out this experimental procedure, or we want to do this, or we suggest this, and say if it's life or death. And you'll just trust their judgment. They could be wrong, they could be right. The Almighty's always right. He says that you will suffer in the flesh. He says that. He says, be ye a living sacrifice. He never said that us serving him and us keeping his commandments mean that our wallet is always full of money and our refrigerator is always full of food and we always have a full tank in our gas. He told you birds have nests and foxes have holes, but the Son of Man have not a place to lay his head. He told you you will be a living sacrifice. He told you you will suffer loss yet still be saved. He told you that the whole world will hate you and persecute you and say evil things about you. It says, so did they, the prophets. They said if they hate you, then they hated him first. He already told you. So when we walk in him and trust in him, he has a 100% success rate. Doctors don't always do that. I was watching another video. It's going to get worse for the Hebrews. A woman. She was having pain in her legs, went to the hospital. They tried to kick her out of the hospital. She refused to leave because she's like, no, dude, I have pain. This is serious. They tried to brush her off, so the cops ended up arresting her, told her to get out the car. I don't need to get out the car. I want to go to the hospital. They took her to jail. She ended up dying in jail for an embolism. She was right the whole time. So you go to the hospital, the place you think you could trust, they do her wrong. Dismiss her. They even call the cops on her. The cops dismiss what she's saying, even arrested her. So the justice system failed you, the hospitals failed you, but the Almighty will not fail you. The Almighty will not fail you. It says even if we have to die for his name's sake, we will take part of the second resurrection. So we're looking for, our kingdom is not of this world, so it makes no sense for us to not trust him and to trust other things that are with failure, other things, especially being a Hebrew, malpractice with women, Hebrew women in hospitals. The death rate is extremely high. The fatality, all that, with children as well as women. They do not give the same service to Black Americans at hospitals that they do to any other nationality. This is proven by statistics. This is not an opinion. This is a fact. But yet we still go there and trust that they'll do the right thing. But then when it comes to the Most High, then this is where, no. Like whenever people always want to quote this, trust the Lord with all their heart and lean not on their own understanding. Their whole lifestyle speaks opposite of that scripture. Because when push comes to shove, they fail. But let's keep going. Let's go get into some scriptures real quick. Go ahead and let's get some examples. Genesis chapter 15. That's another reason why it's not good for Hebrews, whether you're living for the Almighty or not, to be in the United States. You should just get your passport and leave. You know what I'm saying? To the point where you can't even trust hospitals. So it's bad. It's going to get worse for Jacob. As we see the scriptures, it says it will be Jacob's trouble. It will get worse for all Hebrews worldwide. We'll see this go more, and it's going to make you upset and hot. But the Almighty's coming, and he's coming for his people. And just like when he tried to get his people in Egypt out, it was worse for them. Before they got delivered into their inheritance, it got worse. Pharaoh made it worse for these people, right? Genocide and everything. So, yeah, that's true. What Couture just said about the pandemic. Genesis 15, verse 1. After these things, the word of the Almighty came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abraham, I am thy shield, thy exceedingly great reward. Abraham said, Lord, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? The steward of my own house is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of the Almighty came unto him, saying, This shall not be thy heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy bowels shall be thy heir. So, let's go to chapter 16, verse 1. Now Sarah, wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abraham, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go into my maid, and it may be that I may obtain child by her. Abraham hearkened unto the voice of Sarah, and Sarah's Abram's wife took Hagar and made her an Egyptian. Hagar made the Egyptian after Abraham dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband and Abraham to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, the mistress was despised in her eyes. So we'll stop there. But if you read later on in that story, the Almighty says that wasn't the promise. My promise will come out of your bowels. And yeah, Hagar did come out of your bowels. You know, you took her to wife, and from that is your seed. But that wasn't the promise. When I was promised that. And so what happened, whether Sarah or Abraham down the road, they're like, man, I go without child. The Almighty promised me this child. It's been years. How am I going to have this child? I'm old. She's old. She's not even having her periods anymore or whatever, right? Whatever's going through. So they try to, all right, like it says, we just read, lean not on thy own understanding. Be not wise in thy own conceit, right? Oh, you know what? I'm going to just give her Hagar. Then he'll have a seed. And then that way we could do it. But that wasn't the promise. So what would that be called? That would be called a lack of faith. You know, even though Abraham was a follower of faith, that was a situation where he should have just stood on the word of the Most High. And problems came because of that. What came out of that? She was despised, and she ended up putting her hands on Hagar, and Hagar ended up coming back, and this, and there was problems with the siblings. Problems only came from that. So, let's get another one. Give me 1 Samuel chapter 14. First Samuel chapter 14, verse 8. No. Not chapter 14. chapter 13, verse 8. 1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 8. And he tarried 7 days, according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. And Saul said, Bring here a burnt offering to me, and a peace offering. And he offered a burnt offering. And it came to pass, as soon as he made an end of offering a burnt offering before Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, and he might salute him. And Samuel said, What hast thou done? And Saul said, Because I saw that thou people were scattered from me, and that thou came not within the days appointed, and that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Mishmash. Therefore I said, The Philistines will come down upon me in Gilgal, and I have not supplication unto the Almighty. I force myself therefore to offer a burnt offering. And Samuel said unto Saul, Thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandments of the Lord thy Yah, which he commanded thee. For now would the Lord have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever. That means Amashiach would have came out of the seed of Benjamin and not Judah. Let's keep going. But now thy kingdom shall not continue. The Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart, and the Lord hath commanded him to be captain over his people, because thou hast not kept which the Lord commanded thee. So Samuel, the prophet Samuel, was supposed to offer unto the Almighty before he went to battle. So it says tarry here a couple of days, 7 days or 8 days and whatnot. So Samuel the prophet didn't come, so Saul took it upon himself, because it says trust the Lord with all thy heart and lean not on thy own understanding. Acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he shall direct thy path. Be not wise in thy own conceit. Let me read that again. Sometimes we think we're more smarter than the Most High, and it's still our own destruction. Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. So he's saying the battle's going to come, and I need to sacrifice before the Almighty. I want to get in his mind. I need to give praise to the Most High prior to this battle coming. If Samuel's not here, let me sacrifice unto the Almighty. And he was like, that's foolish. So he came, he did it, and guess what happened? To his own destruction. And sometimes we have to trust the process. Hopefully I wrote it good. Trust the process. Because you'll find the time where you really need to trust the Almighty is when you're in dire straits. When it's in a tough situation. There was a situation with my little girl, and the doctors were suggesting to take this medicine for her, and for seizures and whatnot. And we know that once they get on that stuff, they'll be on it for the rest of their life. It can mess with their hormones. It could just mess them up. And we didn't want to deal with the side effects, so we prayed and we just waited. And then there came another time where the doctor was like, see, if you would have gave them the medicine earlier, then it wouldn't have been this severe. But the Almighty healed my little daughter. And I was praying like every single day. And I had to trust the process, because there's some things where doctors suggest certain things where it just seems weird. Like they're going to be on it for the rest of their life. They're going to do this. These are the side effects. It just was like there has to be natural things in the world. Even if she took tea leaves for the rest of her life, that's natural remedies. Then for me to trust some of these doctors. And the hardest part is, if you don't go that direction, something bad could happen. If you do go that direction, something bad could happen. Like Saul right here. I'm going to go to battle. If I go to battle without offering to the Most High, that's not good. And if I go to battle and if I kind of go ahead and offer this sacrifice in hopes that I'll be good with the Most High. And his whole thing was him trying to be right with the Most High. But he did it in a foolish way. Because if you think about it on the grand scheme, he didn't murder, he didn't commit adultery, he didn't sacrifice to false gods. He just offered a sacrifice when he wasn't supposed to the Most High. When you look at it, you're like, yeah, he was wrong, but it was not a grave sin. But it was in direct disobedience to the Most High, and bam, there you go. Was Moses hitting the rock really a big thing? Was he committing adultery? Was he worshiping false gods? Was he breaking the Sabbath? No, he just hit the rock out of his frustration. And because of that, it's still direct breaking of the commandments of the Most High. He went against what he said because he said, speak to the rock this time. And he didn't. He didn't listen, and it didn't matter. Well, it's not a big sin. It don't matter. Because then you lean on your own understanding, and that's when trust goes out the door. It's just like this. As soon as depression hits and you stay in depression, then you start lacking faith in the Most High. As soon as you start stressing over situations that's out of your control, then you start having faith in the Most High. As soon as you start leaning on your own understanding, this is when the trust in the Most High goes out the window. Because it either going to full trust or you're going to lean on your own understanding. So you're going to lean off your own capabilities and off your, well, if I save this money, if I do this, and then you start rationalize what you're capable. But life will bring things that's outside of your control. Then what? Then you have no option but to trust in him. You have no option but to trust in him. And then if you stress, then you just don't have faith. If you get depressed, then you just lack faith. So it's like, it's better to just trust them, because for me, when I go through situations like I'm going through one right now, I would rather go through all these situations in good standing with the Most High. I would rather go through marital problems, financial problems, depression problems, suicidal problems. I'm not saying I have this. I'm just shooting random stuff out there. Death in the family problems, disobedient children problems, unemployment problems, whatever, eviction, whatever. I would rather go through all this stuff knowing that I'm in good standing with the Most High than to lean on my own understanding and try to go with my capabilities. There'll be some situations that you can't talk yourself. There's some interviews that you just can't talk yourself into that job or talk yourself into keeping your job. They're just going to lay you off no matter what. That when your apartment complex raises the rent to $600 more a month, that's out of your control. There's nothing you're going to do. There's nothing, well, if I work some more overtime and I do this and I do this, there's certain things where you're just going to get priced out. There's certain times where the car breaks down at the worst possible time, and it's a major fix, like, oh, this is going to cost $1,800, and it's the worst time that this can happen. Where credit cards won't save you, where friends and family aren't there for you, whatever. Some of it's because some of you guys don't have a congregation, and you really sucking. But there's going to be these situations, and this is where I would rather fight the whole world and have the Almighty on my side than me lean on my own understanding and trying to go about it on my own. I'm only so strong. I only could not sleep so long. I only could go without food for so long. I have limitations, but the Almighty don't. The Almighty don't. The Almighty, he's up day and night. He sleepeth not. The Almighty could fight my cause. When I'm exhausted and I'm tired from a long work day and I just take a nap, he's good. When I'm sick because with food poisoning, he's still on my side. He's still on my side. And that's why it's so beneficial for us to just fully trust in him. Let's get another scripture. Go ahead and give me 2 Chronicles chapter 16. Then we'll get into the news. Do some shout outs, get into the news. It's one of my favorite scriptures too. In the 6th year, in the 30th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, came up against Judah and built Ramah to the intent that he might let none go out or come into Asa, king of Judah. Asa started off a good king. He started off very good in the sight of the Most High. Almighty was with him. Then Asa brought out the silver and gold out of the treasure house of the Lord, the king's house, and sent it to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, and dwelt in Damascus, saying, there's a league between me and thee, and there between my father and thy father. I have sent thee silver and gold. Break the league between Joshua, king of Israel, that he may depart from me. And Ben-Hadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent captains of his armies against the cities of Israel, and they smote Ajon and Dan and Abilam and all the store cities of Naphtali. And it came to pass, and when Baasha heard it, he left off building Ramah, and he left his work cease. Then Asa the king took all Judah, and carried away the stones of Ramah and timber thereof, Wherefore Baasha was building, and he built the Geba and Mizpah. Check this out. And at the time Hananiah the seer came unto Asa, the king of Judah, and said unto him, because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, and not relied on the Lord thy Yah, therefore is this host of the king of Syria escaped out of thy hand. Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubims a huge host, very many company, many chariots of horsemen? Yet because thou didst rely on the Lord, he delivered them out of thy own hand. And if you read his story of Asa, the Almighty gave him great deliveries in battle, way worse than what he was in. And so every time Asa just trusted the Most High, and they prayed, and they got the priest, and they prayed before the Most High, and the Almighty gave him a delivery. So this time hits, and he says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take silver and gold from the Almighty, the treasury of the Almighty. If out of all people, you take it from the Almighty, the house of the Almighty, and you're going to hire another king to deliver you, when this whole time you've been just relying on the Most High. So it says, be not wise in thy own deceit, depart from evil, lean not on thy own understanding. His capability is, well, I have gold and I have silver, I'm going to buy my way out of this, into this deliverance. I'm going to buy my deliverance. I'm going to lean on my own understanding and buy my deliverance, right? So then the prophet comes and says, haven't I not delivered you? Check this out. Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubims a huge host, and very many chariots and horsemen? And yet because thou didst rely on the Lord, and he delivered them out of thy hand. For the eyes of the Almighty run to and fro throughout the whole earth, showing himself strong on the behalf of those whose heart is perfect towards him. Hereon thou hast done foolishly, therefore thou hast henceforth shall have wars. It says, because you do that, now the sword's never going to leave your kingdom. You're always going to be at war now. You did this to bring peace, I'm going to bring war to you now. It says, because you want to rely on the world and on your own capabilities. It's not I, the Almighty. So we see the detriment of not trusting the Most High. It's just better just to keep staying in His commandments and trust Him. There's certain situations where you got to make a decision. I really make a lot of my decisions without praying to the Most High on it. In regards to, if I have to find a mechanic, I'm like, Almighty, I got to find a mechanic. I pray that you lead me to a good mechanic, and then I'll run. You got to make a decision. You got to talk to this mechanic, call, get quotes and whatnot, and then you just roll with it, right? I can't. There's certain situations where you cannot wait for a vision or a dream for you to make a move. You know, if you do a quick prayer, Almighty, I'm trying to get some plane tickets. Help me to find some good plane tickets, and then you just get on the internet and you just start searching. You see them, you don't be like, oh, should I go with Alaska or Delta Airlines? Some things you don't pray on, but there are things that you definitely need to be seeking the Almighty for direction. Seeking the Almighty direction for a congregation. Seeking the Almighty for job opportunities. What's the job location that is best for you? Because you can get this better paying job, but then in 6 months they're going to lay you off. Or you get this job that don't pay as much, but you got more job security and consistency. So those are those situations where, A, seek the Most High, but you do got to make a decision. You know, He made us after His image, so we don't have to have training wheels on for every single little decision we make. But we should be acknowledging Him as we make these decisions, because He'll lead you the right way. You know, you just run out and don't want to pray and just go buy a car, and you end up with a lemon. You end up with a bad interest rate. I've seen this situation. A co-worker of mine, because he sought not counsel. He's not his father's counsel. His son bought a ride, and his son put $3,500 down on a $25,000 vehicle. And he asked his son, he says, what are your monthly payments? He said, I got on a 7-year plan, and it's for $700 a month. Now, this is why you need to pray. And this is why you have a congregation, because we'll help you out. But So 700 times 12. So he's paying 8,400 a year times 7. So he's paying $58,000 on a $25,000 vehicle, and he put $3,500 down. So he's paying $58,000 on pretty much on a loan for $22,000. $700 a month for 7 years, simply because you didn't seek counsel, whether by your congregation or whether from the Most High. So yes, we do pray for these things. Acknowledge him in all our ways and he should direct your path, but eventually you got to make a decision. And he's like, what are you doing? And his son's in that stage where I just got to learn the hard way. But learning the hard way is very foolish. You $25,000, you're going to spend $60,000 on a vehicle, not even including insurance or repairs, simply because you just don't want to take counsel. You don't want to acknowledge no wisdom. You just run and do it. Hey, you got to learn. So you only live once. Sometimes you got to learn the hard way. No, I don't need to smoke crack to realize that crack will mess up my life. I can learn from other people's mistakes and other people's wisdom. And that's the thing. When we run like he did, like Asa did, like Saul did, like Abraham did, all these examples, only bad things came from it. Only bad things came by having that kid by Hagar. Ishmael, he ended up being cool and they buried him, but problems came from that. Saul, he says the kingdom would have been yours forever. Messed up his lineage. Same thing, got replaced. This guy right here, now you're going to always have war. All because you lean on your own understanding. You just run and make decisions, just like my co-worker's son. So he's locked in 7 years, and the dealership is licking his lip like, he's going to pay $60,000 on this $25,000 car. And the $25,000, we already made profit because we probably bought the car for $19,000. And we're already making like $6,000, $7,000 off this, selling him this vehicle already. And then we're going to make another $30,000 off this dude. He's probably writing the paperwork. We got another one. Haha, stupid. Taking advantage of the naive. Taking advantage of the people that's oblivious how car dealerships work and how they try to rip you off. Taking advantage. And he didn't want to see. What is so hard? Dad, can you roll with me? His dad would have said, no, this is stupid. If he would have just did the calculator, he would have realized this is stupid. This is dumb. This is paying for a car twice. No, don't do that deal. And they want something shiny. And this is why credit card, we're going to get into the news anyways. But back to my main point is, hey, when we say these scriptures, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not on thy understanding. The majority of people I know that quote that scripture don't live that scripture. They don't. Because when push comes to shove and they're in a tight situation, they're going to be like Asa. They're going to be like Saul. They're going to fold. They're going to fold and they're not going to trust the process. Because sometimes it takes time for the Almighty to do what he's doing in your life. And you get impatient and you start doing, man, I've lost the equivalent of about $33,000. The equivalent of about $33,000 because I was trying to hurry up and get plane tickets so I could fly out to see the fams. And I made a decision. And I didn't even pray on this decision. It was a pretty big decision. I made this decision. And 3 days later, man, I'm telling you, within 3 days later, it wasn't worth that at the time, but it's worth around $30,000. And as my investments grow, it's going to get to $100,000 worth of loss. And whenever I try not to think about it, but I made a decision and I didn't seek the Most High, and it exploded in my face 3 days later. I'm like, man. And I set the family back maybe about 3 or 4 months. 3 or 4 months. I set the family back a little bit. I'll still be able to retire early, but I won't be able to retire as soon. So I'll still be able to retire pretty quickly, but not as soon as I wanted to. So, praise the Almighty. I might share it one day. When I retire, I'll share this. About the time I retire, that would be equivalent of losing $150,000 because I would still have that investment. But so let's get into the shout outs real quick. We got Gia Couture, Zoe Truman, Jose Ruiz, Zahara Zion, Kelsey Duffo, Dita Bell, Rico Ballard, David Nunes, Abraham Lopez, Richard Smith, Eric Luzers, Ria Tesorero, Joseph Andrea Pickering, Charlie Artiga, Lance Groom, Gabriel Gassa, Darren Gates, Galito Ray Gabriel, Tommy Haysha, Donald Young, James Crawford, Kenny Friesen, Israel Ibarra, Tony, Gia Alvin. Let's go with the next one. Vincent, Joshua Chacha Damari Kamari, Ariel Nava Kashev, Zahara and Jasa. Appreciate you guys. I want you guys to make it into the kingdom. So let's go with the RV ban. They're pushing this carbon credit thing. So in 2025, they are banning RVs. 11 states is banning RVs 2025 or older that weigh 8,500 pounds or more. You could get 2024 RVs in California and 11 other states. The 10 other states are picking it up, but they're going after that. They want to get rid of. They want all of these states to be 100% EV. So they're trying to get rid of that. They're already making it harder, or they want to ban gas generators by 2028, which makes zero sense because hospitals have gas generators, police stations have gas generators. If the power goes out, these generators turn on immediately, so the hospitals still have power for days. And there's people that go around and all they do is just replace the gasoline in these generators once a month or once every 2 months. Go from hospital to hospital, fire station, whatever. All they do is just replace the gas. That's all they do to make sure if there's an emergency, they have gas with high enough octane to power their generators. So they're going after this. They're going to push these carbon credits. They're going to push these smart cities. It's going down. You already know. They're going to add extra taxes. So they estimate gas is going to go up 65 cents in California and in these other 2 states. I think 4 states are picking it up in 2026, and then another is picking it up in 2027. So it's going to be a total of 11 states jumping on this. So your gas is going to get up. They're going to price you out to where they want you to get an EV, which there's not enough resources on the planet for everyone to have an EV, but they're going to solve that by the smart cities, and they're going to solve that by decreasing the population of people on the planet like they have been doing. So get ready for that. Southwest just laid off 2,000 people with the DEI, diversity, inclusion, whatnot. It really didn't help out Hebrew people anyways, but they're starting to crack down and start laying off a whole bunch of white women pretty much. They're starting laying off these people, not only just the IRS or these government officials. It's going to get replaced by AI. They're going to make everyone on a carbon credit and everyone be reliant and get stimulus and subsidies and make you dependent on their money that's disposable, what their cryptocurrency. They say it's not going to be a CBDC, but it will be similar. Even if it's a stable coin, it's still programmable. And once any coin is backed by the US dollar, then because it's backed by the US dollar, they can freeze that account. Just think about it. Oh, it's not a CBDC. It's not a central bank digital currency. It doesn't matter if it's a stable coin, but if it's audited and backed by a US Treasury bill, then that means they can freeze that account. It don't matter. Same thing with your bank account. So you need something that's outside, that has value and assets outside of a stable coin or CBDC. So get ready for that. That's coming. When they try to ban the gas generators, maybe you need to buy your gas generators. Maybe it's time to start buying your gas generators and whatnot. So the smart vehicles, same thing with this. I told you guys about smart vehicles from 2014 and above. And once they go with EV, everything's going to be smart. they already, without you knowing, just like your phone, they record what you say in your car. They could if there's a inside dash cam, they're recording that to the point where police officers could go to your dealership, and if they want to get information on what's going on in your vehicle, they could do it without a warrant, because these smart cars. So if you want to buy a smart car, see what's up with them taking out all the stuff to where they could track your location, they could sell your data, and run from there. Tell them, go to an aftermarket mechanic, because they'll lie and say, oh, we don't have that in there. Yes, they do. They're recording you and getting all your information and selling your data. They do. Now remember, this guy just told me, if it's free, then you're the product. Facebook is free because they're going to make money off of selling your data. TikTok is free because you are the product. You are the product. So whenever something's free, remember, there's a reason why it's free. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their heart. Prime example, I looked up how much the little police officer make in Chandler, because they be wilding out, right? So all of a sudden I get these ads. I just looked up the salary on Google. I get all these ads about, oh, Chandler police is hiring and stuff like that. I'm like, no one's trying to work for you. I'm not trying to work for you. But anyways, plus, as saints of the Most High, swear not at all. I don't need to swear in. We don't take no jobs where you got to swear in. Swear not at all. Neither by heaven, for that is the throne. Neither by earth, for that is his footstool. So we don't do those type of jobs anyway. So, if you can get that stuff out of your smartphone, the least they could track you, the better. Also, too, if you want, put your little tape on your phone so they don't film your stuff. Only use your camera when you need. If you can, I'm already going to buy some Faraday bags. They're made for laptops and phones. You could put that in there. That way, when you sleep or whenever you want to talk to someone and not have your phone be recording you and be used against you, because cops will violate your rights without you knowing. Rather going to a dealership, rather going to T-Mobile and say, hey, without a warrant. If the police officer say, hey, we need to get all this information on his phone without a warrant, what are you going to do? And how are you going to know? And by the time you know, you're already in the court. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to just limit, I know we can't escape it all, but limit how much information we're giving these people. Don't have them have free access to all information. Limit that stuff as much as possible. So I'm going to be getting into those Faraday bags as well for your phones, for your laptops, and run it, I don't even like the fact that you have to have a smart TV. Like, I'm thinking, man, if they just made regular TVs and I put some CDs in there, or just attach to the internet and call it a day. So we'll see what's up. Now let's go into the main news I want to get. First, I'll start off with 2 years ago. I was talking about how they were burning down all the food distribution plants, the poultries, the chickens. There was a lot of packaging plants, beef plants. It was like every month there was like 2 of them burning down. Remember when there was a boycott with the train tracks, and all of a sudden every other week, train crash, train crash, train crash. And then they put that protest, they put what's that called? Where they stop working? Strike. They put the strike. They killed the strike of the railroad tracks with that. And then all of a sudden, all this, and there was a recall of baby formula when they lied, and there was to cause a shortage. And then, so there was already a chicken shortage, and there was already an egg shortage, because they were destroying these distributing plants. They were burning them down. Just look that up. Like, it will be like 2022 and 23. Like, every month. There was one time where a plane crashed into one, and then another plane, the next week, another plane crashed into another one. Like, planes just crash into food distributing plants for some reason. And then you have Bill Gates buying up all the farmland all of a sudden, right? So they already made this shortage, because I need to get you the Gilead dialective. This is where I want to get you. So I need to cause these problems, so to bring the solution to get you to this point. So this point is, I need you to get some poison up in your body. So what can I do this? I need to cause a shortage, a food shortage, when there is no shortage, but I'll cause a food shortage. and I'll lie about a food shortage, and I'll say it so much on the media to where you'll believe that there's full food shortage, right? So the whole bird flu, the whole chickens had to get killed because they were all sick, and salmonella and all that stuff. Remember all that stuff when a whole bunch of chickens were infected and recalled and all that stuff? So now they approve this bird flu mRNA vaccine to put into chickens and for the eggs. Now, as we know, RNA changes your DNA. So they were lying about it with the pandemic in 19 when you get the King Cobra shot, saying it didn't change your DNA when it did. And if you do independent research, it does. It rewrites your DNA. But let's see what's up. All right. You can look at this one real quick. That is the website. You can look it up. And it says genetically engineered. Get over it. This is a website you can look. It says, yes, some King Cobra bites use genetic engineering. Get over it. But if you do some independent research on mRNA, yes, it does change your DNA. Now, we do know that the Almighty's signature is in his DNA. When he looks at us and it says that we are made in his image, then when he sees us, he wants to see his creation. Now, if I mix a tiger and a lion and I make a totally different DNA now because I'm crossbred these animals, which he says that's an abomination, you're supposed to destroy those animals. That is not his creation. He didn't create a lion and a tiger and a lion and all this genetically engineered. No, that is not his creation. And he calls that an abomination. To the point to where he didn't even want you to mix, when you grew your crops, to mix oranges and apples and cucumbers and all. No, you got your cucumbers, you got your oranges, you got your apples. He says he doesn't like mixing that. Mixing weights anything. So when you change how the Almighty created you, how does the Almighty look at you if you choose to get the King Cobra bite in your shoulder? How does the Almighty look at you with that? You need to consider those things, because I'm not here to go as far as saying that's the mark of the beast or anything, but I am going to say that if you know that it's going to change your DNA and you're not in the image of the Most High, then who knows if he will even receive you at this point. You might put yourself to where you're beyond redemption. And I'm not saying go live in sin and whatnot, but we need to stay away from those things. So back to these chicken and this bird flu that they're putting in there, and it's been approved by the FDA. We don't know the severity of what happens when we ingest these new chickens that's coming on the scene, these eggs. Now, you could argue the fact that once you cook something and it's dead, and the reason why Bill Gates was trying to put vaccines in the tomatoes and the lettuce is because those are typically things you eat that's not cooked. So if you try to put it in, something that you cook, whatever vegetable, straight, what's that called? I forgot the word for that colorful red. Anyways, but some of the vegetables that you do cook, then maybe you killed off the vaccine. So they're trying to Bill Gates put it in tomatoes and lettuce and things, oranges and things that you don't cook so you can eat the vaccination. You can look this up too. Bill Gates wants to put this, why he owns all the farmland, wants to put vaccines in fruits and vegetables, right? So now you have this problem. One, we already have the one problem I dealt with the news where they're trying to make factory grown meat and with cancer cells. And now you have this problem where the chickens and the eggs are going to be vaccinated with RNA for the bird flu. And what will happen if we ingest that? You're going to find very shortly that your kids and your grandkids are going to be infertile. They're going to have problems because Bill Gates already mentioned using vaccinations for depopulation. They already said he's already been doing it in Africa, and then Africa started kicking the Red Cross out. So the Red Cross is wicked. saying it's a malaria shot, and it was really to sterilize the women in Africa. But so we know that that's a weapon to genocide humanity. All right. Will they tell you what will happen if you continue to eat these chickens and eat these eggs? Of course not. We're barely getting information. They're barely pulling teeth to get them to admit the damages of the king cobra bite in 2019, right? So that's coming up. I'll find out. It might be a point to where we need to start giving up chicken, a homegrown. This is, I'll get into these scriptures later on. I'm gonna hit you guys with one scripture. So there's no research on it. Definitely pray on it. If you cook it, maybe you kill off anything that's wrong with it. We have been eating genetically modified foods before, where there is the chicken that takes steroids, or where Monsanto puts genetically modified to where it's able to take pesticides stronger, so they can heavily pesticides your crops, and the Monsanto corn or whatever will be able to not die off from the pesticides and be resistant. Or if the plants eat the corn or whatnot, the insect will die, but the plant still dries because the pesticides is in it. So we do eat genetically modified food, not by choice, but stuff that could change your DNA. This is a whole nother subject. There are people fighting because they're saying, if you're going to put vaccines in the food, then this food needs to be labeled as a drug and not be labeled as food. And so there are people fighting back saying, no, well, it needs to show at the grocery store, this is a drug. It's categorized as a drug and not a food, because you are putting vaccines in it. And you cannot have the label of non-GMO once you put vaccines in that food. You know, if you're going to put that in your tomatoes and put that in the lettuce, it's called the vaccine lettuce bill, where it will make it mandatory to label any food with vaccines as a drug. So they're trying to fight that. So let's go to Revelations real quick. So it may come time in America where we're going to have to eat turkey and beef. And it won't be long before, we have mad cow disease, and a whole bunch of stuff got recalled, and all of a sudden Bill Gates starts buying all these cow farms, and now we have a beef shortage, and now we need to vaccinate this for mad cow disease, this RNA vaccine. It's coming, all right? It's not here yet. It's only a matter of time before they're going to vaccinate all your meat. It's coming. So now you not only deal with GMOs and your fruits and vegetables and genetically modified Monsanto, now you're dealing with this stuff. Not only with the heavy pesticides they put on your stuff, I'll deal with this in a little. I'm going to talk about that after the scripture. So Revelation, I think it's chapter 19 or 18 or something. Revelation chapter 18, it says, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power of the earth, which lighteth with his glory, and cried out mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, it is fallen, and has become a habitation, and behold, of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk out of the wine of the wrath of her fornications, and the kings of earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through her abundance of her delicacies. Why do you think Trump could say, I'll tariff people? And people, because they are one of the largest importer of goods. The whole world drinks of this nation's fornication. If they're not drinking off the American dollar, why do you think they're choosing how Gaza and Palestine, what happens? Where do they have the voice of Russia and Ukraine? Why is NATO tripping when Trump's not playing the game and saying, I will withdraw stuff? Because everyone drinks of America's fornication. That's Babylon. But let's keep going. And I heard another voice from heaven. This is a voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not a partaker of her sins, and that you receive none of her plagues. For the sins have reached unto heaven, and God have remembered her iniquities. And this is what I'm saying when they say come out of her. How do you come out when how do you come out of her when all of your fruits and vegetables is tainted with GMOs or vaccinations? When it gets to the point where all your meat, when you have your 5G, when you see chemtrails flying. How do you do that you be not a partaker? This is like, even if you were going to say, oh, I'll just go come out of her, that's the major cities, and all this stuff, and this is spiritually come out and all that. Okay, so you're going to spiritually come out, but you're going to eat this vaccinated chicken that changes your DNA? To spiritually come out though, right? To spiritually come out. But that's physical. They're physically putting this stuff in your food, right? For you to even get to that point, you will already start having to have your chicken coops already set up and have a couple acres out in a place that has nice weather. Because if it snows, then you have 6 months of you ain't growing nothing. So not only you need to last 3.5 to 7 years, but you need to last with a snowy season of not growing anything. So you need like twice as much food. See, in Belize, we could just grow all year long. We get oranges and we get mangoes, and we could live not only just what you store, but you could just live off of fresh fruits that grow yearly. But you go to a place where it snows for 3-4 months, so you can't plant or grow or anything, and you got to wait for spring and for October to get your beginning and end of the year harvest. If you don't even already have your chicken coops, oh, I'll be a vegetarian. Yeah, but when I got food poisoning the other Thursday, right? And I was so mad because it took me so much energy to go to the grocery store and get some food. And I got plums, I got 2 apples, what else I got? I didn't get grapes because they were seedless. And I tried to get a drink, a yogurt drink, and I got something else that was light on the stomach that if I threw up, it wasn't that bad. I took it, and then I looked for that anything that said seedless, I was not going to buy, because we don't eat that seedless stuff, right? Because it's not of God. It says bear fruit after its kind, and the seed is in and of itself. So seedless grapes, seedless watermelon, seedless, all that stuff, that is not of God. Don't eat that stuff. That's abominable. Leave that stuff alone, right? That's just like eating pork, essentially. So leave that stuff alone. And I ate the apple, like half of it, because when you're sick, you can't eat much. And it stayed white. It did not get green. I'm talking about the whole day, like 12 hours, is still white. Like, why doesn't this apple turn brown like it should be? It should be like you eat a couple of bites of apple, you're like, oh, you put it on the table, you go to the restroom real quick, you come back, and it's already turning brown. That's how fast. The preservative they put in that. When I go to Belize and I realize that your milk only lasts 3 days, they don't have gallons of milk because milk don't last that long. You get half gallons. And you put that in the refrigerator and it will go bad in 3 or 4 days because there's no preservative. How is your milk lasting a month in the refrigerator? How is your loaf of bread lasting 2 weeks on your microwave or on your counter and not getting moldy? How is that even possible? Because if you make real bread, within 3 days, you're going to get some mold on it already. But all the preservatives, all the sodium phosphate, this, all these words you can't pronounce. And it made me mad because even when I looked up, I was taking sips of the yogurt and I turned the yogurt around because I was sick. So I was just trying to buy something and fighting off a sickness. And it had 40 grams of sugar. And it's supposed to be a healthy drink. You got more sugar than a can of soda. And so it showed me that even when you're fighting off a sickness, you're limited to still eating poison. Still eating poison, trying to heal up while ingesting poison. Like these kids with come into this world as a baby with almost no chance. Immune system, digestive tract, everything's getting attacked out the gate. Gerber had problems. Baby powder causing cancer. Like everything, the deodorant's causing cancer. The clothes is causing cancer. Everything. And so it's like, why do you guys fight coming out of Babylon? Every time I look at this stuff, it makes it more easier for me to just let the United States go. There's nothing here for you but poison and sickness. There's no food here for you because Bill Gates and Monsanto and GMOs and vaccinated food. There's nothing here for you. Nothing here to eat. Nothing here to listen to. The news is tainted and corrupted and propaganda. You can't get the truth. If you try to speak the truth, you get censored, you get banned, or get your channel removed. There's nothing here for you, and yet you guys still want to stay here. then let you be a partaker of this nation's sins and plagues. You get what you deserve. If you want to stay in Babylon, you get exactly what you deserve. And don't say that the Almighty is going to protect you, because he did try to protect you when he says, come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people. That's how he's trying to protect you. And you want to stay here, so go ahead, eat that chicken. You know, don't even eat that chicken. Eat the lab-grown chicken, the one that I just talked about a couple weeks ago, that they're going to grow and use cancer cells. And it's going to be lab-grown, and it's already got FDA approved. And they'll probably start off with McDonald's, because it's going to be cheaper, and they'll start off with all the fast food, and you won't even know that you're eating lab-grown chicken, and you're going to wonder why your kids you have trouble having kids, or your kids are having trouble having grandchildren, or you wonder why your kids are in and out of the hospital, or you're in and out of the hospital, and you're going to realize that none of your family members really make it to 70 years old, because they're dying off at 60, and they're dying off at 50, and you're wondering why everyone's just dying off early, and everyone's always sick, and everyone's always medicated, and you keep drinking your water with fluoride in the municipal system, and lowering the IQ of children, which has been proved. Wondering why your children's attention spans, and everyone always has something, ADHD. All the kids need something that requires them to take some kind of medication every day. All heavily medicated, you and your children. And yep, that's because you like Babylon. That's because you like Babylon. Enjoy it. Eat it all to your fullest. Because you're going to be a partaker of this nation's sins and plagues. And sometimes when you tell some people quit hanging around those friends, and your kid keeps hanging around those friends, and those friends that whole house gets shot up, and your kid gets shot up with those friends, it's like, I told you, you're guilty by association. When the gang members come, they're not like, oh, well, he just hangs around them, but he's not from that gang. He just hangs around that gang. Don't shoot him. No, they're going to spray the whole house. They're going to spray the whole car, and you can tell it, stay out of that. Don't hang out with those kids. It's bad news. Don't be around those people. And when bad things happen, when he gets locked up, or he gets pulled over and he gets locked up with the rest of them, or they get in a fight and now he has to jump in, and now he's in the fight and someone got murdered and he's locked up too, guilty by association. You get caught in a bad situation, and the Almighty says, come out of her, that you be not a partaker of this nation's sins nor this nation's plagues. And you want to stay here and spiritually come out. Oh, I'll just go live out in the forest, when I already told you that they're using Starlink to find preppers. They're using Starlink to find homesteaders. So you think, yeah, go buy your 30 acres. Go do it. And see what happens when you'll find 3 or 4 all-black cars pull up and say, hey, you're not zoned. You can't have that many chickens. You can't have that many cows. You're not zoned to have a well. It's banned to have a well in this state. And they make you bury your well, or they make you get rid of your chickens, or this, and now what? Now you won't make it to the winter. I told you, they are coming after preppers in the States. Starlink is not your friend. Elon Musk is not your friend. So, be aware. I'll stay updated on that. It might get to the point where the saints of the Most High just have to just let chicken go. We'll just rock with turkey and beef and fish. Fish is healthier anyways if you don't have too much mercury, right? So, Subway, turkey, beef. Hey, you know what I'm saying? If you guys want to take that chance, you can. I don't know. I think it's easier to find some solutions. So see what's up. With all that said being done, keep standing. Don't drop standards. The Almighty hand clap. Shalom.